Hey, how's it going, fellas? I'm gonna tell y'all a story today about how you need to guard your energy when you're around certain women in your life, and why sometimes the best option is to walk away from certain women that you have in your life, even if they're a good person. So, a little bit of backstory. When I got really into running, I was running all the time, and that's kind of when my self-improvement journey really took off, right? So before this, I was kind of like in a self-development thing where I really wasn't focused on women. But what you'll come to find out from all this self-improvement activity, you start going to the gym, doing better for yourself, cleaning yourself up, is that women will naturally just kind of show up in your life. Well, that's exactly what happened. Running kind of led to me getting into kind of a weird situationship, relationship type thing with a very beautiful woman. So we started running together, and running had connected us. She hit me up because she saw that I was a runner. She was also into running, so we started running together. Well, later on down the road, we end up, developing feelings for each other. While this was happening, I was like firing on all cylinders. Like, when I say, like, when you're in your self-improvement journey and you're just like locked in, focused in, it's one of the best feelings ever. No distractions, no women, no drugs, nothing. You feel like a freaking like superpower. Your ambition is just completely all consuming your life. Like, you'll do anything. You don't even need to feel motivation. You're just that ambitious. You wake up every single morning with fire in your belly. Well, me and this woman started running together, and I kept her around for a long time because she would work out with me. Well, we ended up really connecting with each other, like, even more than just working out. Like, she was easy to talk to, she was easy to be around. This person really felt like, I could just talk about anything, and same with her, we could just talk about anything. So not only that, like, our goals matched, but our personalities really matched. So farther on down the road, as we're seeing each other, we start sleeping together. And I was on semen retention before this, like hardcore. I was on semen retention. I was like not fapping, no porn, no like sleeping with any women. Well, I kind of just threw it all out the window when I started seeing her. So my semen, I wasn't retaining any semen. It was completely gone because we were getting physical with each other, as how that happens. And it got to the point where we were being physical with each other, sleeping together literally every single night. So there wasn't even a chance for me to replenish my energy levels at all. By the time I was, nighttime came around, there went all my energy, there went all of my attention. So my ambition kind of went way down. I got really comfortable. I got extremely comfortable staying with this woman. She was also, it was affecting my diet. It was affecting my semen retention journey, my energy levels, everything. So it was affecting my business too, my hustle, my work. I started to slowly realize that I wasn't putting in as much work as I was before. I didn't have that like X factor. So it all kind of started coming together to like where I was almost starting to feel like this blessing that I had, quote unquote, was actually more of a curse, because it was just so addicting to lay with this woman every night, sleep at her house, eat the food. She was cooking me pizza brownies, tacos, dinner, whatever. She would come to my house, bring me like cookies and brownies and everything. And I wasn't fully in on my diet as I am now. I'm going really hard on my diet. As you know, I'm on a keto diet, which is super restrictive. I can only have meat, cheese, no sugar, no carbs, none of that. But when I was with her, I was eating really bad. Now, I was still working out, and that was kind of like kept me grounded. And I wasn't using any substances, so no drinking, no smoking, no marijuana. And I was not skipping my workouts. I was still consistent, running, going to the gym, boxing. So that kind of kept me grounded, and thank goodness I had that, because if I stopped going to the gym and I just settled for the comfort, that probably would have been a huge mistake. That would have been my downfall. But the gym kind of helped me stay on track. I'm kind of rambling here, so let's move on. So yeah, a lot of time that I should have been spending working on my business was lost, because instead of working on improving and hustling and having that ambition, hours that I could be spent building something, instead I was over at her house watching Netflix, watching movies, watching Love Island, eating delicious food, sleeping with her, just throwing all my energy out the window. And by the time that this stuff kind of started to compound, it was hard for me to even wake up in the morning. I would like pull myself together, limp my way back to my house in the morning, every single morning. I was showing up late to like the business, to the work that needed to be done. And I was just slacking off in general. I wasn't going at my 100% because I got too comfortable with a woman that made me comfortable. And also it started kind of becoming this like very codependent relationship where I'm pretty sure like she was like falling in love with me. I was kind of falling in love with her. And it almost felt like I was getting sucked into her life, where it wasn't no longer my life, it was her life. So I was completely losing sight of the mission because of a woman. And I had so much trouble with like girls for a couple years when I was on my self-improvement journey. I started that journey for a reason. I literally started self-improvement because, I was having girl troubles. Lo and behold, it led to like a new sort of enlightenment where I felt like I didn't need girls anymore. But I was also that whole time, those 2 years spent grinding, where I didn't really have, any girls. When I finally got one, it felt like, you're so thirsty. It's like you're in the desert and you want water so bad. And you finally get the water and you start drinking it. And when you have a bunch of water in abundance, you're not so thirsty anymore. It's just water, you just drink it whenever. But not having something like that for so long, not having that affection, that touch, I was just fully addicted. I wasn't quite fully developed yet as I am now in self-improvement after learning these lessons. So I was still technically learning and still a novice. So this is going to happen when you guys are on this. At some point, a woman's going to show up and you really got to set a boundary on how much energy and time they're taking from your life, because it's so valuable. And, you work so hard to get a woman, and when you finally get it, and you realize it's getting in the way of your goals, in the way of your mission, you start to detach yourself from that, So I had to fix this. This was a problem that I had to fix. Slowly I started kind of waking up you know? I was like, yo, what am I doing? Like, I would be at her house watching Netflix, and I'm like, dude, I should be working on my business right now. Like, there's shit to be done. I shouldn't be here fucking around. So I started trying to like push her away. I started pushing her away, spending less time with her. And let me tell you guys, when a woman really loves you and cares about you, and you start to push her away, it only makes her try harder. Like, literally me pushing her away, not chasing her. This whole lesson also taught me a lesson about women, the law of like, chasing. It's like when you're chasing a woman, you're repelling them, right? And the harder you try, the harder it is to get them affectionate about you. Versus when I was literally pushing these women away, when I was trying to avoid them, trying to spend less time, it only made them want to spend more time with me. I would get complaints about that I wasn't talking to her enough, that I didn't give a shit about her, blowing up my phone, asking what I'm doing, where I'm at, what are you doing tonight? I would spend a day without texting her, and that was enough to set off the alarms and freak her out. Her calling me, oh, do you want to come over tonight? Do you want to come over tonight? Let me tell you, when I started pushing her away, it's like she was trying to get me, like, dude, she was about to trap me, straight up. So I slowly started distancing myself and started seeing how that affected the relationship. And let me tell you, like, she started going crazy, started acting kind of weird, stalking me. And so I tried to break up with her like 3 times. I like went to her house, gave her like a nasty, mean speech. I was like, I'm done with this. Like, don't talk to me again, blah, blah, blah. She followed me like down the road, like ran out of her house. And that was like the first time I tried to officially break things off. I tried to break things off again. She kept finding ways back into my life, bro. Let me tell you, like, she kept finding ways. I was like trying to get her away and trying to get back on the mission, and this woman kept coming back to me. And this started like a cycle of like pushing her away and her coming back in and me taking her back into my life. But then me kind of waking up again, from the dream and saying like, no, I made my decision. To the point where she even like convinced me that it was in my best interest to stay with her. She convinced me several times after I already made my decision, which is crazy. Just the power of the coochie, and the food and the good times and movies and activities, and everyone wants to be with a beautiful chick. Ain't nobody gonna say that you don't want to be seen in public with some fine ass chick. Come on. So yeah, she was really attractive too, which didn't help. I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing according to the story. It was a double-edged sword. So I finally I ended up blocking her, and that was a whole ordeal. Actually, the final separation was like a whole toxic thing where like I had to get my stuff from her house. She took back a bunch of stuff from me. Her calling me off of blocked numbers. One day she called me like 60 times in one day. And, I finally was able to cut her off for good. She finally gave up after a couple months of this really toxic split that we had. I almost fell back into the trap a couple times, but I stayed firm. So the immediate after effect, I finally, I regained my focus. I got back on like semen retention. My energy levels came back up. Even my family members, people told me like that they noticed like a change in my energy. And when I was with her, it was like, I was like almost dragging myself around, like you just don't have that same like fire and ambition that you would if you were, retaining your seed, and if you weren't having all those rewards, the dopamine rewards. So it's definitely very similar to like a dopamine detox, you know. So that's why all these other semen retention YouTubers and whatnot, they tell you, you know, when you release your seed with a woman, make sure it's the right woman, and that there's a consequence to actually releasing, which is decreased energy. So if you want to have that killer instinct, let's say you're gonna do like a amateur UFC fight, boxing match, or a competition. I'm just gonna give you an example. If you release, even if you have sex with a beautiful woman, that's gonna cause a drop in energy. It's just the sad reality. No, I'm not saying to be a damn monk and never get physical with someone again. I'm just saying to know what the consequences are. So like if you're in a grind, you know, state in your life where you're just trying to grind and get ahead, not having a woman influencing you is a big upside, because you're not focusing all that time and energy, and also mental energy, you know, like this is someone you have to entertain, you have to text, call, talk to, go see on a regular basis. You have to, you know, go to events with them. You have to spend money, extra money spending financially. You know, you're going to be in a better place financially if you're just focused, like locked in on yourself. So yes, there is a lot of benefits just being by yourself and focusing. And I will say I did learn a lot of lessons from this experience, and I don't regret it, and I'm happy that it happened, because it showed me a lot of things, and it taught me a lot of things about like female nature, and it got me back into the game of like actually interacting like with women again, you know. Before that, I was just a straight monk for a while, not by choice. I was on the up and up, and eventually that led me there, but it just made me realize that I don't actually need a woman. It can show you, this experience is like, you can take two things from the experience, right? You can take like a positive and negative. Like what I did learn is that I don't need a woman to feel happy, to feel fulfilled. I realized that I was already fulfilled before I met her, and I thought that having a girl in my life, having that pleasure at my disposal, was going to fill that void inside of me, when in reality, you know, the only thing that can fill that void is yourself, like discipline, your happiness, what makes you feel fulfilled in life. And hey man, like if you haven't had a woman in a while, and you know you're on self-improvement, I would say I would have done it again. I would have, if I went back in time and I knew everything that was going to happen, I would have done it again, just because of where I am now. But what I can say is, yes, there was a lot of valuable lessons learned from this experience. And do be careful. This is just a lesson to tell you that be careful about, you know, involving a woman in your life, and just know the consequences of that. And if you're willing to pay that price, if you're willing to pay that extra mental energy, you know, go off semen retention, extra financial strain, extra time lost. So if you're in that grind point in your life, I would definitely say do consider this. You know, you can entertain women as you please, but don't let it ever let it consume you completely, which is where I kind of fucked up there for a few months. It consumed everything. So please subscribe, leave a comment if you had a similar experience. If you have a question, I can definitely help y'all out. This is Dark Warrior. I'm going to share some more knowledge with y'all very soon. But yeah, please subscribe, please like, help me grow the channel. It super helps me, because this is a small channel. I need to grow, and if you help me out, I would appreciate that. All right, peace.